All right, man, we back. Mercy Sports Talk, we in the building. Let's talk about Paul George. Should the Pistons consider trading for Paul George from the LA Clippers? Word on the streets, in my Gucci man voice, is that the Clippers are tired of Paul George. The players don't like him. The coaches don't like him. Saying that he don't have a very high basketball IQ. He got into a Montrezl Harrell. I think it was like Game 7 versus the Denver Nuggets. So let's talk about should the Pistons think about trade for Paul George. Hit that subscribe button, bell icon button, share the video. A guy that Sam Presti knows a lot about because he traded him to the Clippers, and obviously Troy Weaver was with that front office as well. So Weaver knows a lot about Paul George. And you just think about it, if you're able to add Paul George, then that's a great replacement for not getting Brandon Ingram. But also, he can play the 2, he can play the 3. I mean, in LA, he guarded AD a little bit playing the 4. Tremendous talent. Not sure he would be a box office pay-per-view, box office, ticket puller, excuse me. I'm not saying that. But as far as you putting him, you putting him with Diambo and Wood, I think it's a good mix. But I'm still I'm still really against injury-prone players and bringing veteran players here. I'm really with building the foundation with young guys. But what it would take to get him, obviously, the Pistons have cap relief for the Clippers. They have $39 million in cap. So really, they can trade him here, and we don't even have to trade him a player back for him. But I think they would look at Christian Wood. They also probably would look at Luke Kennard. And really, what the Clippers made a mistake at by getting Paul George and trying to follow the trend of super teams was they needed a complete team around him, around Kawhi Leonard. That's what it was about. They lack size in the middle, and they just lack camaraderie overall. And that's something that you can't just throw a team together and they win a championship. Especially the COVID kind of hurt, player stride as, starting to gel and really hit their rhythm, down the stretch in March and April. And then they had to stop that and go to the bubble. But personally, I think, it's going to cost us the 7th pick. It's probably going to cost us next year pick. It's probably going to cost Luke and Christian Wood just to get over there. And really, it's not like you're getting LeBron or you're getting Kobe. Really, it's not even like you're getting Jimmy Butler. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the young assets that you're giving up, let's just say, all right, we done. We don't like Luke Kennard, we done. Christian Wood don't want to stay here. We didn't want to keep him, we done. That's cool to trade Luke and Christian Wood if you think they finish, you don't want them. But when we starting to talk about the 7th pick, then we start to talk about next year pick, I'm not with that. I just don't I think Paul George and just really a half Derrick Rose and a half Blake Griffin, no, that's really just, delaying the actual rebuild once again. And that's exactly what it's doing. It's delaying the rebuild. They need to build with young, talented players. Obviously, Blake and Derrick Rose is probably on their last legs as far as with the organization. I think Luke Kennard is on his last leg. He don't deserve to get paid. So you look at those three. So really, what you're looking at is, can we develop Bruce? It's really what it boiled down to. I heard a report that Thon Maker won't be coming back, or the Pistons don't look to bring him back. I really don't look for much out of Justin Patton. He don't never stay healthy. So what you're really looking at is Diambo, Bruce Brown, and if you keep Christian Wood. Those are the kind of the three of your core right now. So whoever you bring in, maybe a shooting guard, small forward, point guard, center, whoever you bring in next year, now that's kind of the rebuild of where you're going. Then next year you hope to get another good pick, because let's say this team would be bad next year and they really just running on Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin, and they kind of do what they do and get injured and have to have their time off. And now you letting Diambo and Wood get out there and get experience. So we hope to be a lottery team, high lottery team next year. You get a pick, you hit on that pick again. Now you see something. You got Wood, Diambo, 2 draft picks. Hopefully you hit on. So now you're starting to go in the right direction. Now maybe we starting to push for the 8th seed, or maybe we still bad again because Derrick Rose don't come back in. Maybe we trade expiring Blake Griffin. But it's going to take some time. I mean, a lot of Piston fans have never witnessed an actual rebuild. You know what I'm saying? I've been witnessing through the 90s. We still had Lindsey, Joe, Grant, and then our rebuild after that was really Ben trading Chucky Atkins for Ben Wallace and company and all that type of stuff, and kind of getting past the Jerry Stackhouse era with the Pistons. And the rebuild was dysfunctional. I'm going to say dysfunctional. It was unconventional with the Pistons. You don't really see them pick up a Chauncey who nobody wanted, Rip who Michael Jordan was tired of, trade. We got traded, Chucky Atkins, Ben Wallace trade, Tayshaun Prince in the draft. The reason, before I finish on Paul George, the reason the Pistons really didn't have longevity and the Spurs did, it was just one single thing nobody talks about. What is it, CJ? Drafting. The Spurs was at the bottom of the draft. They drafted well. That's what longevity is. Being able to find hidden gems that can help you, you can develop and help them. Tony Parker is one of the reasons why they had longevity. He was a late first-round draft pick. Manu Ginobili was another pick in the late first-round draft pick why they had longevity. That's the difference between Sam Presti, Greg Popovich. That's the difference between them and the Pistons. They lasted because they made smart draft decisions, and also they made a smart trade for George Hill for Kawhi Leonard. They pushed all the right buttons. They was ready for life after David Robinson. You know what I'm saying? And they was like ready with life, you know, with past prime Tim Duncan. You know, that was a organization that drafted right, and they did it right. The Pistons didn't. The Pistons treated their draft picks like candy corn. They picked the right one with Tayshaun Prince, but that was an anomaly. You know, all the bad draft picks they picked, and then they had a time where they could have picked the right guy and really overcame all the bad picks. And they could have picked Carmelo, they could have picked Wade, they could have picked Bosh. Picking one of them, Melo, would have really changed the trajectory of the team. So instead of trading for, you know, Iverson, you probably could have traded or found a better replacement for Ben Wallace. But with Paul George to finish on that note, it's just a hard no. I think Paul George, you know, it's best if you go to an organization like Philly, like Boston, that's on the cusp. You know what I'm saying? You just can't count on him. I know we're not really going into playoff mode and championship mode, but I think the trend with the Pistons should be players 25, 26 and under. Not Paul George, a guy who has, once again, injury history with a shoulder. Every time he had a bad game, he got ice pack, a heat pack on his shoulder. It's just not a really good fit for what this franchise really should be doing right now. You know, young players. If it's not Ingram, you know, then you really starting to just stay young. Draft guys. You know, so that's just my opinion on it. Just Paul George not a fit. You're probably looking at Philadelphia, Boston, Toronto, teams like that need his fit. So let me know what you guys think about possibly trading for Paul George. And it's probably going to take Luke Kennard, Christian Wood, and at least the number 7 pick. And I'm really not willing to part with a 7 pick for Paul George. Now, if we was in a situation where we had Reggie Jackson and Derrick Rose and Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond in a situation like that, we trying to win now, then I would say bring them in. But we kind of on the rebuild side of things. So let me know what you guys think. Don't forget we on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can reach out if you have a business question, inquiry, sponsorship, video request. Keep sharing the videos. Best way to make a donation. If you haven't, hit that subscribe button, bell icon button to share the videos. Other than that, Cash App, CJ Good 313, PayPal link description. Just keep sharing the videos. Let me know what you think in the comment section. We gone.